Hi, Fifth Hour. I am creating this video because my Wi-Fi just will not allow me to log into the meeting. I can't check email. I can't do anything but my phone. So I apologize, but I am recording this so that I can repeat what I was trying to model for you. So we are looking at bearings today. And the first thing we needed to do was to be able to draw bearings. So the first bearing that we drew was 145 degrees. Remember, we always draw a vector north, start the north, that's 0. But then remember our referenced angles. North, south, east, west. North is 0, and then we go 90 degrees, another 90, another 90, and then back at 360 for one full circle. And so if we think about 145, that's closer to 180. So we're going to estimate our vector about this distance and then draw the arc and then label that 145 degrees. The next one was 20 degrees. Drawing our vector north, but 20 degrees is just 20 degrees past 0. So here would be our 20 degree bearing, a tiny one. And then lastly, we need the bearing of 285 degrees. Notice that 285 is a little bit past 270. So when we draw our north vector, then we need to go all the way around to past 270. And that is your 85 degree bearing. Now, the next thing that we looked at was an application. So Miss Paulson walked Mel five blocks northeast at a bearing of 35 degrees. Then the dog sniffed a tree and then continued northeast for 6 blocks, but at a bearing of 50 degrees. We need 2 things. We need a diagram, and then we need the total north distance. And feel free to pause the video at any place to make sure that you are following along. Now, I'm going to leave some space because I know that if I'm going northeast, if I start at my center, I'm going to go northeast, and then I'm going to go northeast again in a slightly different direction. So here's where I'm going to start. And this first distance is somewhere between, going back to our diagram up here, somewhere between 0 and 90. So this is our northeast direction. And I've gone 6 blocks. And then, I'm sorry, this was 5 blocks. 5 blocks first, and then a slightly different direction. Notice how the lines changed in their angle. Their slope is slightly different. But the second one is 6 blocks. But now let's add our bearings. Wherever we started, we draw the vector north. And then we consider how many degrees that bearing was. This one was 35 degrees. That is a 3. Sorry, it's so messy. But the second bearing is at the tree. And if you need to, draw a tree. And this angle of that bearing was 50 degrees. Now we have two right triangles using that east and north direction. I encourage you to label the first north distance x and the second one y. Notice that we have both hypotenuses in the triangles. So if we drew the triangles separate from the figure, you do not need to do this, but it might help you to see the relationships. We need the distance of y in this triangle. The triangle with the 35 degrees is similar. It's a right angle, but this is 35 degrees. And then this distance is x. So notice this is the adjacent side. And so we are working with cosine. So we have the cosine of 50 degrees is equal to the adjacent side over the hypotenuse. And then we have the cosine of 35 degrees equal to x over the hypotenuse. One step to solve. Y is equal to 6 times cosine of 50. Same process here. Multiply both sides by 5. X equals 5 times the cosine of 35. And now let's look at what those calculations are. I'm going to bring my calculator to the camera. So first, looking at 6 cosine 50 degrees, we get about 3.86 blocks. And then 5 cosine 35 is about 4.1 blocks. B for blocks. But then we need the total. So we add those distances together. Total north would be 3.86 plus that 4.1, and we get about 7.96. Should probably put squiggly lines here. And that is about 8 blocks. So in Miss Paulson's walk with her dog, she walked 5 blocks northeast and then another 6 blocks northeast. But the total distance north was about 8 blocks. Thank you for taking time to watch this video.